everyone, and I'd like to welcome everyone back. I'm Reverend Birgit Goodrow, and today we're going to study Genesis chapter 49. I also like to mention again that I do study online with Dr. Baruch Corman, and you can reach him on loveisrael.org. So we left off last week where Jacob is very ill, and Joseph has come to his side with his two sons, and Jacob blessed them both. And now he is calling all his sons to come to him to receive the blessing and also revelation for each one of them. So back then, it was not uncommon for sons to become nations. And in this case, Jacob's 12 sons become the 12 tribes of Israel. And here he's going to speak a revelation to each of the sons. So what is very unique about this chapter is not only that he's giving his sons revelation and blessing before he passes away, but also in the order that he does this. He did not go by the birth order, but he's going in a mixed order. And what is very unique is that in the order that he gives the blessing or revelation to each one is what is going to happen to the people of Israel up to this day. So let us read together Genesis chapter 49, verse 1 and 2. And Jacob called his sons and said, Gather together, and I may tell you what shall befall you in the last days. Gather together and hear, you sons of Jacob, and listen to Israel your father. So Jacob did start with his firstborn Reuben, and he also gave him revelation, and he said that he had a lot of potential, but because of the sexual sin he committed, there are consequences. As you can maybe remember or not, but he slept with his father's concubine. Verse 3 and 4. Reuben, you are my firstborn, my might and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity and the excellency of power. Unstable as water you shall not excel. Because you went up to your father's bed, then you defiled it. He went up to my couch. So now the father Jacob, he raises his hand over to Simeon and Levi. And if you can remember that they freed their little sister from captivity, but the way they did it was in a very bad way. First, they told all the men in Canaan that they had to be circumcised. And then on the third day, when they were all weakened, they went and attacked the men and killed the leader and freed their daughter Dinah. And through this cruelty, their father was very disappointed with them. Verse 5 to 7. Simeon and Levi are brothers. Instrument of cruelty are in their dwelling place. Let not my soul enter their council. Let not my honor be united to their assembly, for in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they hamstrung an ox. Cursed be their anger, for it is fierce, and their wrath, for it is cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel. So in result of what they did, and they did not trust God, they will lose their identity. Verse 8 and 9. Judah, you are he whom your brothers shall praise. Your hand shall be on the neck of your enemies. Your father's children shall bow down before you. Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, you have gone up. He bows down, he lies down as a lion, and as a lion you shall rouse him. So now Judah is going to take the position of leadership, and he is the one that is going to defeat God's enemy. And Judah, basically that name means thanksgiving. Verse 10, 11, and 12. The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shelah comes, and to him shall be the obedience of the people, binding his donkey to the vine. and his donkey's colt to the choice vine. He washed his garments in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes. His eyes are darker than wine, and his teeth whiter than milk. So in verse 11, it talks about a donkey, which is in Hebrew a female donkey that it's talking about, and also about the blood of grapes, and that is the best wine, and that it talks about redemption. And it's referring to the Messiah, which is going to bring redemption. So in verse 12, it talks about the red eye, the wine, the white teeth, the abundance that is going to be there, and the transformation that is going to happen. So I'm just going to read a quote here from Dr. Baruch Corman, what he says when he transferred the Hebrew words into English about Judah. And he said, the young lion becoming strong, the rod of leadership, he will rule and make laws. He is going to put his enemies under his feet. He is going to rule over them until there is unity. Verse 13, Zebulon shall dwell by the haven of the sea. He shall become a haven for ships, and his borders shall adjoin Sidon. So we're going to carry on with Zebulon, and he's going to inhabit the Mediterranean coast and expand his borders even further. Verse 14 and 15. Issachar is a strong donkey laying down between two burdens. He saw the rest was gone, and that the land was pleasant. He bowed his shoulder to bear a burden, and became a band of slaves. So now Issachar is meaning a safe place to be. Now there's going to be two tribes that are going to work together. But Issachar, he is more interested in profit and money. And he is going to put a lot more thoughts into financial, and he is eventually going to be a slave to taxes. So now Dan, he is not mentioned in Revelation because he did not inhabit the land that he inherited. 16 to 18. Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Dan shall be a serpent by the way, a viper by the path, that bites the horse's heels, so that its rider shall fall backward. I have waited for your salvation, O Lord. So the word Dan means judge, and he is not going to judge properly. His judgment is going to give the enemy a foothold to come and attack. The result is his judgment is going to move people backwards. Verse 19, Gad, a troop shall trap upon him, but he shall triumph at last. So the next son, Gad, he's going to go for victory. He's going to attack. His name actually means an attack in a military way. So he will be victorious. Verse 20 talks about the son Asher. Bread from Asher shall be rich, and he shall yield royal dainties. So the next son Asher means fruitfulness, happiness, fatness like oil, rich food. He will provide royal delicacy, kingdom-like, and kingdom experiences. Verse 21. Naftali is a deer let loose. He uses beautiful words. So in verse 21, it mentions Naftali, and it mentions about a deer, which in Hebrew, it is a female ram. And God will improve and change for the better. And he's going to speak words of change and repair and improve. Verse 22, now he's blessing his son Joseph. Joseph is a fruitful bough by a well. His branches run over the well. By the way, a bough is a thick branch. Verse 23 and 24, the archers have bitterly grieved him, shot at him, and hated him, but his bow remained in strength. And the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty God of Jacob. From there is the shepherd, the stone of Israel. So now we're going to talk about Joseph and his blessing, and Joseph is a typology of the Messiah. So Joseph is an overcomer. Even though war will rage against him, he will overcome. He will remain in power, and he will be like a knight in shining armor. And he will bring victory. Verse 25, by the God of your father who will help you, and by the Almighty who will bless you with blessings of heaven above, blessings of the deep that lies beneath, blessings of the breast and of the womb. Verse 26, the blessings of your father have excelled the blessings of my ancestors. Up to the most bound of the everlasting hills, they shall be on the head of Joseph, and on the crown of the head of him who was separated from his brothers. So as we know that Israel will bring the Messiah into the world, as we read later on, as we know at Christmas time that Jesus was born in Bethlehem. Verse 27, Benjamin is a ravenous wolf. In the morning he shall devour the prey, and at night he shall divide the spoil. So now Benjamin, he is the youngest son and the last one to be blessed. And he is like a wolf that fights all day. And he is going to be nourished, and he's going to also divide his spoil. And he is all about victory. Verse 28, and all these are the 12 tribes of Israel, and this is what their father spoke to them. And he blessed them. He blessed each one according to his own blessing. So the revelation that Jacob spoke over his sons is also revelation for Israel. So now this is Jacob's last request in verse 29. Then he charged them and said to them, I am to be gathered to my people. Bury me with my fathers in the cave that is in the field of Ephron the Hittite, in the cave that is in the field of Machpelah, which is before Mamre, in the land of Canaan, which Abraham bought, with the field of Ephron and the Hittite as a possession for a burial place. So if you look at the revelation over the sons and the revelation for the 12 tribes of Israel, you can compare it with what is happened with Israel and the Jewish people, that they went into exile and that they also were in slavery, and also that they came back and gathered back together, and also their borders were expanded. So these messages and revelation to the 12 were also revelation for the future, what is going to happen. So here's a small quote from Dr. Baruch Corman. He says that spiritual blessings are the foundation for physical blessings. Verse 31 to 33. There they buried Abraham and Sarah his wife. There they buried Isaac and Rebekah his wife. And there I buried Leah. The field and the cave that is there were purchased from the sons of Heth. And when Jacob had finished commanding his sons, he drew his feet up into the bed and breathed his last, and was gathered to his people. So everyone, I hope you enjoyed this study. I certainly enjoy putting this study together, and I'm looking forward to see you again next week when we can study together Genesis chapter 50. Please help this channel and subscribe.